This video is to show you my latest building, which I've made for the Liverpool Overhead Railway project, and it's a recreation of this incredible clock tower that still stands. This is a modern photograph of it still standing on the in the docks, or what's left of them, in Liverpool. Here you can see the level of the docks, and I've got a number of pictures of this which I basically found on the internet, as people have taken modern photographs of it, and you can see bits of railway line disappearing in all directions and other strange structures here. And this is the building. This is a clock tower that was built in 1848, and it was designed obviously to provide a time for the dockers and other harbour and port users, and these I just found on various websites, and obviously the modern cityscape of Liverpool and Wallasey, etc. The other Birkenhead, the other side of the river, and it stands at the entrance to I think it's Salisbury Dock. These are interior shots. There's another shot with the ubiquitous pigeon, and the clock tower, the clock faces, and then from the distance, and various others. And that's Alamy Photo Library, and this is a close-up of the clock, one of the clock faces, which was very useful. It's a very complex structure. That's my texture for the clock face. It's a very complex structure. This is the photograph which I used to scale the 103-foot tall structure. This is on Wikipedia, and you can see here this is actually a cone with the top cut off, and then there's this sort of pillar shaped sort of structure and a curve, and then this is a hexagon, but it's much more than that because there's actually battered plinth. I'll show you on my model in a moment. Then we've got this extraordinary balcony here with all this sort of balustrade, and then we're up to the level of the tower, clock tower itself. There was a bell hanging up in here, which is why these are open to the elements to let the sound out. 1848, look, there we are. Momentous historic year. Revolutions all across Europe, and Liverpool celebrated by building this. And then this is also an hexagonal structure, and these strange sort of portholes, I suppose, and then a final sort of castellated hexagonal structure at the top. So let's have a look at what I've made. Here we are, and this is it in Trains a New Era, with a circle running around it of track with that pug, Mersey Docks and Harbour Board pug. And so I was very interested in making this, if only because it's so bizarre a structure, and I had a lot of trouble making it because there's all sorts of strange structures. Let's have to go into quick drive, and you'll see why in a moment, as soon as it loads up, because one of the aspects that I wanted, of course, was for the clocks to work, and for this I needed a script, and I had a look at what was available in Trains, and Elstoko's script for driving a clock he's made for the Railway New South Wales seemed to me perfect, and so I got in touch with him to ask if I could use it and would it control multiple faces. And because what I imagined was I would have to make a model of the face with the clock, just the face of the clock and the hands, and then get it to put it 6 times, because it is a 6-faced clock. Here we are, look. There we are, 6 faces of the clock, to tell the time. And Lee very kindly, first of all, he very kindly gave me permission to use his script, but what he went far beyond that, because he then started working on his script and developing it so that eventually it would control multiple faces correctly, because each of these, you'll see the time is, so it's 1 minute 21 seconds there, and we actually do have the correct time. Oops, too fast, too far. Let's go down here and then let's zoom in gently, and if I look up a bit and then I zoom in, I'm going to go up a bit really, don't I, ideally. There we are. You can see that it's showing the right time, and these are the hands that I made. Very elegant Roman numeral faces. There are a number of other things, like this central section is actually set in a short way, but the clock itself is set in. I've made a number of compromises. I've blanked out some of these entrances, some of these, most of these perforations. So this was originally a cone, but you can see here I've actually had to flatten it in sections just to create something which is not a million polys, in order to get it to just load into trains. For example, here you can see it's a hexagon with a slit in where the sides of the hexagon join, and then you've got you can maybe just see this a bit clearer from, I'm not sure if you can. Let's see if I can just get in a bit more. Yeah, you can see here it's actually got a curved battered plinth which comes up here, set out of the hexagonal tower, and then this hexagonal tower here is perforated. It has a door, so you can come out onto this balcony, and fair play to those guys who have gone up the original structure just very recently in the last couple of years and taken the photographs, because they've been invaluable. I've actually blanked out the windows looking in because I didn't want to do the internal structure. As it is still a substantial model because of all the fancy work. It's as if the designer, I forget his name now, but as if the designer has sort of slung every sort of Gothic or pseudo-Gothic, Victorian 19th century, mid-19th century Gothic with a K on the end, CK on the end, as if he'd slung everything that he'd got in his do-it-yourself castle book at this structure to make it quite distinctive. I kept the date in. You could just make it out there. I didn't want to make it very prominent, because although when the sun catches it, it is prominent on the sort of seafront there at Liverpool. I didn't want to make too big a deal of it. But anyway, Bob is going to have a look at this, of course, my partner in crime and beta tester and finder out of problems and all the rest of it, and we'll see, and if he thinks it needs to be a bit more prominent, then I'll make it that way. But you can see here how Lee's script for getting the clock to work has operated very well. Here we are, look, 4 minutes past 10 and 37 seconds, and we're almost there now. And this is excellent because it means that he's worked the script in such a way that the time works very effectively, and it's very straightforward for me to set it up. There are 6 attachment points, all actually pointing inwards, and at the relevant position, 60 degrees each around the 360 degrees of the hexagon. So with the faces and the hands already set in position, the script has allowed it to, or has made sure that it adopts the time, the system time of the route that it's placed in. So although it's a very distinctive and quite, I mean, it's a grade 2 listed building now, perhaps because of its sheer novelty. I can't say it's the most attractive building I've ever modelled or would want to model, but at the same time it's certainly one of the most challenging, and just making these sort of details here and trying to keep the poly count down so that it's loadable into trains and doesn't just crash graphics cards left, right and centre has been quite an issue. I always try and keep the hit as low as possible. Why did I do the round of track? Well, I just did that because I had there we are, I wanted the little engine running round while I was looking at this, just to give me a bit of interest. So there we are, there's the pug going around in a classic living room carpet circle of track. So we'll stop that. So there we are, Liverpool's Victoria Clock Tower at Salisbury Dock, I think it is, not far from Riverside Station, which is going to be my next model, and not far from Waterloo Goods Depot, which was the one I showed you in the previous video, but in itself and a distinctive part of the Liverpool Docks landscape. If I just go back to Surveyor, I'm not going to save it, and actually back to the main menu, and I'm just going to load up the route how Bob has it at the moment, and I'm just going to show you the position. I think it's there. Some of the outer parts of the docks haven't been modelled yet. I get this very strange thing in TANE of when Bob sends me the latest version of the route, I always have to edit the environment and reset the diurnal colours for some reason to get the proper colour that he's set. Oops, this is our map tile, so I'm going to come down here into the Liverpool overhead. Here we are, and I'm going to zoom along, and I'm just trying to guess, trying to think where further north than that. We've got it's where that bridge goes over. There we are, so there's that, and I think, let me see, I think Liverpool Riverside, I think the Riverside station is over here on this bit somewhere. I'm probably wrong here. I haven't yet sort of worked out, not quite clear on where all the docks are. It's not that far south, it's up here somewhere. And I think, let's see if I can recognise it. I'm hoping it will sort of jump out at me. I think no, we're too far north for now. But it's somewhere here, and it stands out. I suspect it's somewhere like, it stands out on a dock structure, something like this. This clock tower was placed. So that's the coal. Maybe it was this one. It's this sort of a structure that clock tower stood on. Quite remarkable. Except I don't think it is that one. It is. It's Salisbury Dock. There it is. Salisbury Dock. Yes, it's here. I found it. Very good. So if I go in a bit, so what we'll see in the future is the tower somewhere here, and well, these are just temporary placeholders, so it's going to really be quite a distinctive landmark, and that means that our Riverside station must be somewhere down here. So there we are. That's another aspect of the Liverpool Overhead Railway that I thought you might like to see, that we're now in the process of creating, and as I say, Riverside Station will be the next project, so do watch out for more updates on this incredible and very varied route.